they're pretty self-explanatory. Again, they're on both sides of the body. We have two of them, which is great. So let's have a look at one thing. But
What about the people with three nipples?
that's an interesting one. Haven't come across one of them. But we won't go there, okay? It's going to confuse me too much.
Yeah.
But breasts are a woman's feminines. When a woman has a breast problem, they have an issue with their femininity, and it's been challenged, or they don't feel like a woman. And you know how they drive you to drink out, oh, does this look good, does this, and blah, blah, blah. You have to keep that up, because otherwise they get shit, so they think, they don't feel like a woman. It's part of their job, I suppose. But let me tell you, when they have a problem, it will affect that. If they have an issue of their self-esteem and their feminist, yes, and that's what gets attacked. Again, you got left to right, so you've got male, female person. Again, a barmaid, long time ago now, she had an issue with her mother. She hated her mother. Mother left her father. And so, she was a nice girl, very, bit like a bloke, because she was with her dad. And she hated everything to do with her mother. So guess what she was hating? Everything to do with a female. And I said to you, you can't do that, you can't hate your mother. You just can't have it. You just can't do it, because that is going to create problems in the body. And you're
Reproductive.
absolutely. And I said, what you resist will persist. So I said, the more you hate it, the more you're going to have an issue with a feminine problem. That's because like I said, there's always the dark and the negative. There's always one side trying to balance out the other side. This is how energy works. And when you look at everything at the smallest common denominator, this is how you see it. So you're not really seeing it as two breasts or two arms or whatever. You're seeing it as energy. And in this case, it's the female energy, what they think about themselves. Anyway, I said, look, I can sort you out. That's all right. I can deal with my own stuff. I said, okay. I said, when you're ready. A month later, bends over in the coffee machine, pops up, the steamer goes down between the top, clicks the switch on at the same time, birds one of the pups. She had to go to hospital, had third-degree birth, and I said, I told her that was going to happen. And she said, I'm ready to listen to you, when can you come and see me? And we dealt with working on another. We didn't really deal
Which one was affected? Was it the right one?
They both got hit.
Oh, that's an easy
Actually, I didn't look, actually. I was only dealing with the mental side.
Yeah.
But, the thing was caught down in between. And so, and I can tell you now, 5 years, 10 years after that, she would have had breast cancer, because there'll be constantly stuff will keep on coming back why she held this resistance to her mother. And she ended up, we've done some stuff to sort of make peace with that. And I said, you don't have to physically like her, but you don't have to hate her, because that hatred is creating another energy building up over here, which is going to affect that part of the body. And you'll find it's constantly happening in all parts of the body. But this one's a very obvious one, because I think we have a bit of a run going with the pink breast cancer thing, T-shirts and all that, raise money for this, that, for a magic pill that'll fix it. There ain't no magic bloody pill that'll fix it. Breasts rely entirely on what you eat.
Plus the promoting fear about it, the more fear you
They're wanting to just jet fear and drag more money, and what you concentrate on is what's going to come.
That's where you focus on fear.
Sometimes what you go looking for, you will find it. Yeah, that's true. And also aluminium and polypropylene glycol and
All those things affect
stuff.
it, because they go into the skin, they go into the kidneys. The colon, if you ever look at this fellow, this bloke here, talk about all about the arse, this bloke is all about it, lived to 108. I think he wrote this book when he was 80. I mean, he is so related to every different part of the body from what you eat.
Who's the book by?
It's Norman Walker, Norman W. Walker. I think he was called the colon, they gave him a name, the father of the colonics. Yeah, he believed in colonics. We have about, my memory serves me right, we've got about 8 different glands in our body. 2 of them are the breasts, and they all have a direct reflex from the bowel. And so depending on where and we have a bowel picture at the back of the book here, just so you, and you can see in that just some of the areas that are affected in the body. It's about what you eat.
Don't you think that women should have mammograms?
No. No, because I would much have rather used Dr. Harry Oldfield's method, or we had a lady here at the Dowsing Society about 2 years ago with some light heat, whatever. Yeah, I don't know the right word, but another lady absolutely been put to the hell by the medical profession. If you haven't got breast cancer before you go and have a mammogram, you're probably going to have it after you have it. I mean, it's equivalent to a fair bit of radiation, and it's not to mention that bloody buggerize the thing around and to take a picture of it.
How do you explain that family history?
I'm glad you asked that one. I had a lady who had done exactly the same thing, and there's an interesting article here. I brought this here, you can have a little look at it. Time magazine, never bought the thing in my life, went up to the newsagents about 4 weeks ago, and it says how the first 9 months shaped your life. Right? There's no DNA in there. There's no genetics from the parents, from the grandparents and that. It's about what you're eating when this is happening and what you're thinking when this is happening. Okay? Generally, right on conception too. Is this baby really wanted? There's a lot of things like that go down with that. As far as genetics, I'll just give an example that I use. I like using my garden as the best way. I had a friend who was worried about her breasts so much that she had them made bigger, and that was fine. I didn't think she had nothing wrong with them, but anyway, that was what made her feel good, and that's what works, that's what works. I just bought a couple of plants from Fate that my kids at school they went to. I bought a couple of things, do the right thing, get some money. And I put them in the garden in amongst my lettuces that were already there. And I had at least 5 different types. And I've grown them all for the compost bin. They just keep coming up. I let them go to seed into the compost bin. Another next year, or 6 months later, another lot of lettuces are coming up all over the place. Pull them up and just put them into a spot where I don't walk on. Now, overnight, the snails have come and eaten every one that I put in. None of mine. They ate those ones. And that just happened that morning where this lady was coming for lunch. And so I took it down to the back there. I said, why do you reckon that happened? I said, those plants have no life force. Snails, which is a parasite, only eat dead things. They don't eat live things. Okay? That plant did not have enough life force to be able to survive by itself because it was grown in a hothouse, in soil that had nothing in it, and it was fed everything. So the moment all that stopped, when it had to go to survive by itself, as long as the snails didn't come, its life force would increase. But those little antlers on top of insects, particularly snails, they look for dead things. So when we come back to genetics, okay, you've really got to look at this. What did your mother cook for food? What did her grandmother cook for food? If they use that rather than say, okay, yes, it's going to weaken your DNA, there's no problem, the genetic side of it's there, but it's through the food. So if you know you've got a weakness, then you work on that weakness. If people say, oh, there's heart disease in the family, I said, do you eat green? No. But come on. That's where how you protect that. I mean, if I go up to the station